I know that I'm just going to get ready for this session. Just hold on. In our house, we are big scuba divers. And Mr. Bickley and my daughter have gone diving with sharks. So we're going to join the Vancouver Aquarium and Ocean Wise, and we're going to learn about the apex predators of the food chain. So I'm going to turn it over to Nicole, and we're going to learn all about sharks.
Hi everyone, my name is Nicole and welcome all of you to our section today. So yeah, we're going to talk about sharks, the apex predators of the ocean. And just now I was surprised that Melly got her goggles on. And yeah, we're going to dive in with together and try to learn more about the sharks today. And here I am now at the Vancouver Aquarium in Vancouver, Canada. And I'm really happy to share my knowledge and experience with you all in this traditional land of the Coast Salish people, including Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. So before the start of the conversation, I would love you to type in what kind of impression or what are the words that come to your mind when you think of sharks. So type it into the box, then I can know.
Cute and eat.
Ooh.
Impressive.
Scary.
Majestic. Scary.
Whoa.
Teeth. Sharp
teeth.
Amazing.
Oh, amazing. That's a lot of words. Thank you, guys. For me, the first thing that came to my mind when I was small, when I listened or have my experience with shark, was scary as well. But as long as I tried to learn more about sharks through my science class in secondary school as well as in university, where I major in biology, I learned more about sharks, and I even tried to swim with sharks in some tropical areas as well. So now my word from sharks changed from scary into interesting. So we're going to talk about more about sharks and how it become a very nice and very top predators up the food chain. So for sharks, they actually appear way before than human for a long, long time ago. They are here for hunting. They are here just for food and habitats. They're here for a particular reason that they remain survive here around the world. So we are going to talk about some adaptations that sharks have in order to protect themselves, in order to be the top predators in the ecosystem. So let me show you a picture first about our sharks. And I want you to think about what kind of adaptation do sharks have in order to protect themselves, in order to let them prey on food, as well as to have a very have a very nice environment for them to live on. So
maybe Nicole, they could also say what is an adaptation. Maybe there's some people that might be able to help each other out.
Yeah, for sure. So for adaptation, you can type in on the comment box as well. But I can tell you about the adaptation. For a definition is that how animals actually using their body structure, their behavior in order to survive in such a harsh environment. Because for sharks, they're actually living in open water, which we call pelagic area, and there's not much tree, not much plant living nearby, and all they have is a very vast ocean, blue, dark ocean that they have to depend on. So Katie and Millie, can I have the share button as well so that I can share my screen? Oh, thank you. All right. So let me share my screen with a photo of sharks. And now you will be able to see the sharks now. So this is the sharks that we have in the Vancouver Aquarium. And this is called the black-tipped reef shark. So for sharks, they have a lot of adaptations in order to survive in the vast ocean. So let me take a look at your answer and see what adaptation do they have. Ooh, cartilage, no bones, teeth. Ooh, teeth, the bones. Cool. Okay. So let me show you something that is very cool that I collected from my colleagues. So this is the jawbone of the sharks. It probably comes from a great white shark, and this is made of bones, and you have bones around the jaw of your mouth, around your jaw as well. So try to touch your jaw, and you will feel there's hard substance near your chin, and that is your jawbone. And so as sharks, they have bones as well. But for the whole body, instead of having such dense, hard bones, for sharks, they actually have cartilage. So I want you to feel cartilage by yourself by rubbing your nose a bit using your finger. So try to rub your nose a little bit. And you feel like there's some soft tissue around your nose, and these are the cartilage. And for cartilage, sharks do have cartilage as well, and it's all over the body, and it helps the sharks to maintain their buoyancy. That means they can sink or float easily without having very heavy body or have very dense bone. So this is one of the body structure that sharks have in order to maintain their buoyancy and try to keep them swimming around the ocean. So this is one of.
And I was just going to ask you, Nicole, can you hold up that that shark jaw again, just a little bit longer so the students can see the teeth, and hold it up a bit higher? There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks. And we'll hold it up for just a couple seconds.
For sure. So because I'm going to talk about the teeth as well. So if you take a look at the mirror of yourself, you will be able to see there's a lot of teeth that is made of calcium for you to tear things off, for you to eat. And same for shark as well. So for sharks, they have a lot of teeth, are very sharp teeth. So let me take a closer look for you all. Okay. So here you go. We have a lot of sharp teeth here. But for sharks, they actually have hundreds of thousands of teeth on their jawbones. Just because they are very good predators, they need to use those teeth in order to bite and in order to capture those prey as well, like fish or even squid. So they use those teeth in order to eat. But for sharks, they have hundreds of teeth just because when they're trying to catch or bite their prey, when they try to remove or tear the meat apart, those teeth will be removed accidentally. So that's why from time to time, sharks will generate or try to grow a lot of teeth as backup in order to maintain their ability in order to catch prey. So this is one of the coolest things they have in order to survive and in order to catch their prey as many as they can.
So there's no shark dentists, so they have to grow their own teeth back if there's a problem, right, Nicole?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So this is the specimen that I have. But for the sharks, they have also other kind of adaptations on their body. So let me just pull my screen again and then show you picture. So this is the shark. When you look above the water surface, and there is a very nice body structure that help them to hide in order to be very sneaky.
Nicole, should we have them guess what kind of shark that is? Do you know what kind of shark that is? Let's go back to that picture. Who they know what kind of shark we're looking at right now?
Oh, let's try that. Try to answer that. Great white. Great white, black reef, wolf. So you
Megan,
are
John?
all correct. So this is the great white shark. Yeah. So for great white shark, they have a very relatively sharp head. Uh, the structure in the front, and it's very easy to identify them. And because of their body color, they're able to be very sneaky. So I want you to tell me what kind of color do sharks have on their body? White. What else? Gray. Oh, that's so cool. So just take a look at the picture here again. For sharks, in order to be very sneaky, in order to catch most as many prey as they can, they use their color on their body in order to do camouflage. So for this kind of camouflage, we call it the counter shading. So it make use of the light and make use of the color on the body in order to blend into the environment in such a big ocean. So for sharks, they have dark shades on the top of the body, and then they have a lighter shade that is white color on the bottom of the body. So what those sharks do is actually they try to swim as they like. But for if you're a little fish, imagine you're a little fish, when you look up, you may not see any sharks because the tummy, the bottom part of the sharks actually is white in color and it blends into the environment just similar to the sky color. So for the little fish that you're swimming, you might not see any sharks nearby just because of the camouflage. But if you're a little fish swimming above or near the water surface, and when you look down a little bit, you may not notice any sharks swimming nearby as well, just because for sharks, they have a darker shade on their upper body, which will blend into the sea floor, the color of the sea floor as well. So that's why they are very sneaky and they're very successful because they can hide very in a very nice place, and with their color on the body, they can actually be very powerful when they're trying to catch prey in second. So if you're a little fish, you have to be extra careful because sharks may swim nearby you and they might find you in seconds and capture you right away. Ooh, that is so cool. And for sharks, they have great sense of smell and also vision as well. So they can make use of their eyes, especially for hammerhead shark, because they have two eyes at the end of the two the hammer-like structure, so they can have a more view, more clear view of what's going on where those preys are. So for the smell they have, it's actually very brilliant as well. So what the sharks do is actually they will try to absorb or intake a lot of water, and they will use the cells near the nose in order to sense any change of chemicals inside water. So if there's some chemicals released by little fish, the sharks can actually feel it. And one more superpower that sharks have is that they have a lateral line. So, do you know where the lateral line is for a shark?
Can you spell that for us, Nicole?
For sure. So, let me put it here. It's spelled as Lateral, and line. Lateral line. Oh, sorry.
And we're having lots of questions come in, which is amazing because this is we're going to answer as many as we possibly can and then tell you how you can ask more questions when we're finished. We've still got quite a few minutes of our session, so it's okay.
For sure. So let me review the answer for you. So for sharks and also for other kind of fish, they do have lateral line like this. So the red line actually indicates the lateral line, is actually in the intersection between the darker shade of the body as well as the lighter shade of the body. So what this line do is not a very physical line that you can actually try to touch, but there are some cells, some sending cells, which located around that line. They help to sense the change of water pressure. So when water comes through that cells along the lateral line, the sensory cell can actually try to convey message to the brain of the sharks in order to let the sharks know there's fish swimming around, would change the water current. So that's why this is very important for for sharks and even for other fish as well, to detect the change of water pressure around. And of course, they have gill slits as well, which helps them to breathe in oxygen inside the ocean. Compared to human, we do not have gills, but we have lungs. But for sharks, they have gills instead. Whoa. So I'm here to answer some of the questions before we jump into some environmental issues that sharks have.
Okay, so let's go to some questions. So, do sharks, I love this one. Do sharks mean to kill people?
Oh, that's a very cool one.
Heidi.
Yeah, and that is something that I want to emphasize as well. So, for myself, I really, when I was small, I really scared of sharks because I heard a lot of news report that sharks actually bite people and make people die. But now, when I learned more about sharks, I learned that they only want to protect themselves when they attack somebody. But for sharks, they normally do not bite or attack people because they are not, we are not their food, and they just want to protect themselves. And if we would like to protect those sharks as well, if you see a shark, better stay at a very reasonable distance, like 5 or 10 meters away from that shark, so that it won't notice you while you're swimming with the sharks, but at the same time, you're protecting the sharks. So sharks don't bite people.
Excellent. That's really good to know. And that's great. And Kieran from Iqaluit would like to know, are sharks cold-blooded and how do we know?
Cool. So for fish as well as sharks, they are cold-blooded. And they are actually having their structure in order to maintain the temperature inside their body. Um, for for the you have to see the change of temperature in order to see if that is cold-blooded animals or not. But for humans, like mammals, we do have fat as well as we have some structure for us in order to really keep ourselves warm. But for sharks as well as fish, they will change the temperature, the body temperature, with the surrounding environment too.
Excellent. So that's one of the how they know that sharks are cold-blooded, and that's the way to categorize some animals. Now, Declan would like to know, and you talked a little bit about this the other day, is what are the ways that sharks have babies? That was really interesting. And do you have any pictures?
Yeah, I do have some specimen that I want to show you because last time I was impressed by the question, so I tried to find something for all of you. So here I have is some egg case. So I try to hold it for some seconds for you to examine this. So these are the egg case for sharks. And let me see, these are from the bamboo shark. So some of the sharks actually lay eggs like this. And after they lay eggs, they will leave it on some seagrass or even on the ground to let the baby sharks to develop their own body. So what those sharks do is that they try to get nutrients from the egg yolks from this egg case, and they grow bigger and bigger and bigger, and they will try to escape from the hole here on the. Let me try to see. There is a hole here, so the sharks when they grow bigger and bigger, they would just escape through this hole and back to the ocean and try to hunt on food as like fish on their own. But for some sharks, like great white shark, they do not produce egg like this, but instead they will have their individuals, the young ones, born young, alive, and so that they can swim right away after being released from mother's body. And some of the sharks are very interesting that they actually have eggs inside their body like this. And those baby sharks hatched from their mother's body. And after that, they will stay inside the body for a while. And after that, after months, they will born live young right away. So there's three kinds of method that sharks can reproduce and try to extend their family.
That's so interesting. That's so cool that they have different ways of having babies. Tegan would like to know, is there a way to tell a difference from afar between a male and a female shark?
Oh, that's a very good question. So let me give you a picture again to show if we can see that difference. So this is the shark. This is the sharks that we just saw before. But how can we actually distinguish between males and female? Is that you have to take a look at the structure near the end of the body, that is near the tail. So I want you to stick out the two. Let me see. Those two finger like this. This. So if you see a sharks with two extension structure like this, like a chopstick, it is a male. But if it is a female, they do not have such structure. So they will not have the chopstick like body structure near the tail of the bottom part of the body. So this is how scientists and also the public can try to identify the sexes for the sharks.
That's really interesting. That was really cool. And Cristiano wants to know, how long do sharks usually live?
Cool. So it depends on species. So some of them actually live like 10 to 20 years for sure. And for the longest one would be the spiny dogfish, which you can see from the Atlantic Ocean, and they can live up to 100 years old.
And do some scientists track them? Is that how they know? Does OceanWise have a tracking program or any programs to track sharks?
For OceanWise, we do not have any program related to sharks right now, but I'm sure that there are scientists trying to take a look into the details of sharks and try to estimate the population size around the world by using tracking system, or even by using submarine, or even some of the divers can actually dive into some tropical areas like coral reefs. They try to do the census. That means they try to count the number of individuals in a particular area.
Awesome. And then someone would like to know, maybe could you give a couple of examples of what different species of sharks would eat? Like what would a whale shark eat, or what would a great white eat, and what would a nurse shark eat?
So for sharks, not all of them actually eat meat. Not all of them are cannibals. So for great white sharks, they need food like bigger fish like tuna, or even some fish called lantern fish. So they need those fish in order to survive. And so for some of the shark species like bamboo shark or even nurse shark, they do need to eat some fish, but for some of the time, they will actually eat clams or even sea urchin that is available around their body area. So these kind of sharks are actually cannibals, which they eat meat instead of other plants like living things. But for whale shark, which is one of the most interesting one and one of my favorite sharks, they're actually eating plants like sugar, which is plankton. So plantains are just tiny microorganisms that some of us may not cannot see. Some of them cannot be seen by naked eyes. So for whale sharks, they have filters near their mouth so that they can intake a large amount of water and filter off those planktons. And they will just try to consume all the planktons in one go. So for for whale sharks, they usually need to intake tons of water every day.
Awesome. That's so interesting that they're so varied. We'll do this will be the last question before you go on to the next section. What is the most dangerous, a bull shark or a great white shark?
Stop playing with that. I'm just going to take the headphones out.
For
I have a meeting right now, so you might just have to do it without
It's okay.
without sound.
It's okay. I'll just
maybe we have to mute the phone.
You're supposed to do what's in the classroom. You have to get through that.
Right.
So if there's no sound,
for great white shark or blue shark, I would say they have a similar ability in order to find food because of the teeth, because of the lateral line, because of the great sense of smell and vision. From my side, I don't think sharks are very dangerous, as well as we stay a very safe distance with them. So for me, I would say great white sharks and blue sharks are both very brilliant and a very great hunter in the ocean and are the top predators in the ecosystem.
Awesome. So thank you so much. So we'll go on to the next part, but can we somehow there have been some microphones that have been activated? If you could please mute your mic.
Everybody, I'm sorry. I don't know what to do about this. This is a question for potentially your teacher as to why the sound.
Maybe we have to mute phones.
I think you would just go have your meeting.
Okay. So for sharks, we have them everywhere in the ocean, including in Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, or even near the Arctic. So scientists actually found that there's a type of shark called Greenland shark actually being discovered deep down the sea near the Arctic. So they're actually everywhere, but their numbers are actually decreasing because a lot of people think that they're useful in their daily life, so they keep on catching those sharks. So in Asian country, where they are really emphasize on traditional knowledge, and they try to really kill a lot of sharks in order to get those shark fin to make shark fin soup. So one of the movement that sharks have for the environmentalists is that they try to stop people from eating those shark fin soup. And we have a lot of fun for fishing.
It's there.
Can we just make all the phone right here?
Somebody has their microphone on, and S, if you guys can mute your mic, because we can hear in the back, and we're not sure why. And the Hills
because they're gonna unhook it.
Vivian has their mic on, Rodell, and Kate for some reason.
Okay.
Flashing nothing for throwing them around.
All right.
So we will wait a bit for 10 seconds. Okay.
No, guys, stop it. Be quiet for 2 seconds.
Whoever has the microphone, we're going to have to remove you from the session if you don't sure that your mics are off.
Right. Oh. Okay, so
Let's keep going, Nicole. It's the best that we can do. It's Tanya Borgensen and
sure. So for sharks, they are being hunted by humans for a long time because of their shark fin. For Asian country, which really emphasize on traditional traditions, they really kill a lot of sharks in order to get the shark fin, in order to get to make it into soup. And from all over the world, actually, fishermen trying to catch a lot of sharks, a lot of fish around the world, and there's overfishing problem. And what those fishermen do is actually they try to deploy a very large and extensive fishing net to the bottom of the sea, and they drag everything from the bottom of the sea to harvest them. And for because of that, there are a lot of sharks being killed and being caught by those fishermen, where we call it bycatch. Bycatch means they are not the target fish species that the fishermen want, but they are actually being caught during the process of fishing. So there's an overfishing problem, which leads to the bycatch of sharks that we need to focus and try to tackle the problem and the issues. So what can we do is very easy. Try not to consume any shark products. Try to take a look at the ingredients of the products that you have and try to see if there's any ingredients that is from sharks. So from my experience, I usually have dumplings from Hong Kong, and recently I just found that there's some ingredients related to sharks, so I stopped eating those food right away. And for us, we can also try to find sustainable seafood. That means those seafood like fish or clams are being caught or harvested using some eco-friendly method that is not dangerous to the ecosystem. So try to look for those products. And of course, you can try to learn more about sharks because you guys are amazing about the questions that you have. I may not have the time to really answer all the questions right here, but you're welcome to really go to our education.ocean.org in order to know more about sharks. We have YouTube channels. We do have a lot of games as well as videos for you to take a look. And if you have more questions, feel free to type it into our online platform, and I will try to answer a lot of them for you.
thank you very much, Nicole, for all of that information and the amazing pictures. And Erica, yep, we should stop eating shark fin soup. So what we're going to do, we can do two things. If you would have any more questions, you can email them through the Connected North at Home website, and I will send them on to Nicole. Or we are in the process of building a resource page for all of our providers, and you can visit education.org then when that page is done. Or you can look on the oceans.education.org site as well and send some questions to Nicole there. So this was amazing. It was really hard to keep up with the questions. They were coming in so fast and they were fabulous. Nicole has another session at 1:30 Central, 2:30 Eastern on plastics in the ocean, which is really interesting. It really helps understand how we can help sharks and also help the other ocean creatures. And at 12 o'clock Central, 1 o'clock Eastern, we're going to see Darren again from the Alaska Sea Life Center and talk about some of those big marine mammals. So those are really awesome. So you can go back to the website, connectednorth.org at home, and click on the link to join those two other sessions today. So this was great. And we're so grateful to you, Nicole, for teaching us about sharks. So everyone can say bye. Stay safe in the water, guys.